Alrighty. What is up, good people? Popping in here a little live the way I said I would. Bum, 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 bum. Alrighty. Feel free to let me know what branch of service you were in, if you're rated or not, and the years that you served. Excuse me. Always cool to know those things as we hang out here for a little bit. Let me see here. Put up. Pull here. Okay, we are multitasking. So we have Tube Talk. Good stuff. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Yeah, be careful with how you type or what you type because the system gets kind of funky. On the tube, USMC not rated in the process currently with a claim. What's up, Mario? Dan Ogaro in the building. Vietnam Navy 70%. Good to see you, brothers, in the mix. Let's see on the talk we have Titan Air Force 05 to 11. Down with Dolphins. Let's see 01 to 13. Army. Rock Lobster. Still haven't heard anything back. JJ U.S. Navy 84. 293 ABE catapults. Still in stage 3. Yep. Ron in the building. What is up, my peoples? Yeah, just hanging out for a little bit. Let's see. Got a bunch of stuff kind of coming up this coming week, so that's good. Link in my bio has all these different things. But this Wednesday coming up, C&P class is going live. So we're doing C&P preparations, exams, and so forth. So feel free to look into that. Sign up for that class if you are in the process of waiting for that. If you're active duty or know somebody active duty, link in my bio has a wait list that should be going up this weekend. So after this live, I'm kicking up. I'm switching our website over to a whole new thing. So information for the wait list email will go out this Monday with a link to be able to start signing up for the active duty transitioning service member class. So for folks that are active duty who want to follow VA claim, if you're a year out, 2 years out, whatever the case may be, that information is link in my bio. So you can sign up for that wait list. It'll be a class covering everything for the active duty side of the house, transitioning from active duty service, talking VA claims, how to get yourself together, how to plan, how to prep, C&Ps, medical documents, personal statements, all those different things. So that workshop will be live on March 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you're on the wait list, you get a discount. So for the active duty folks who've asked this question, that'll be very good for y'all. And then, let me see, newsletter, links in my bio for that. So if you're not on a newsletter, what are you doing? But yeah, for those popping in, let me know the branch of service and years that you served. Catch up with some questions and whatnot, but definitely want to make sure I get that out there. Biggest push right now is the active duty class we're doing again. So that's a big one there. What you got, Trey? Let me catch up here. Stage 3. Let's see. Claim went from preparation for notification back to gather information for the day. Sorry. You're welcome, Gonzalez. Antonio. So, yes, there's a few different reasons why that can happen, honestly. There are some times where it may be something in your benefit. I know it sucks, but what happens is the decision is ready to go. It goes, to the process. The VSRs do their thing. Our VSRs do their thing. it goes to post. They're doing all the stuff and last minute checks and make sure everything's good to go. Anything is missing, they could push it right back and be like, there's missing one thing. It could be something minor, minute that just has to get done correctly, or wasn't filled out correctly, or even an exam was missing something. So there's that part. How can I join the classes? The link's in my bio. I have the link there for the class this coming Wednesday for the C&P. I cover C&Ps, start to finish, what they are, what to do, what not to do, what to expect, bad C&Ps, what to do for those things, mental health claims, all kinds of claims. That link's in my bio. That's $47 for that class. And then the active duty transitioning workshop that I'm doing on the 19th. If you're on the wait list, it'll also be about 47 or so. And then if you're not on the wait list, I think it'll be like 60 something. So that's how that'll work there. Same here, Army, waiting on 3 claims. Check. Wapatang. Put in for TBI. I was evaluated by a psychiatrist, so I also have a C&P exam. I also have to have a C&P exam to get rated. Okay. When was that exam? Rather, do you have the exam scheduled yet for the mental health one? Let's see. Just join. So yeah, Cash, the active duty class that I'm doing, I get a lot of folks ask questions a lot about active duty, leaving active duty. What should I do? I'm about to get out in a year or two. I don't know where to start. All these different things. So that active duty transitioning, BDD class, it's a transitioning roadmap class. I'm covering the whole VA claim process for someone leaving active duty as to what they should do if you're like a year or two out, months out, you're in that 180-day window, you start the BDD process. Talk about gathering things, preparing for all that. We talk about the C&Ps, exams, what to expect, things as such, medical records, personal statement writing. So all the basics, so kind of like an overview of the claim process for the folks there. There's a free book in my link in bio for BDD. It's a checklist. So that those folks, y'all can get that there too. Excuse me, but that's what that is there. But I'm sorry to hear that, Antonio, on your side. That kind of sucks. VNCC is my organization, Veterans Network Champions Club. We're not McLean's or us or anything like that. It's a network of veterans and champions. We win in many areas of life. So trying to create different offerings, different things. I also put the link to my bio. In the link in my bio, rather, I also put up my schedule. So I'm opening my schedule up to be able to have some conversations and things like that. No, not a BSO or a lawyer. I'm a private organization, so that's different. Let's see. Broken bone is a hard rating, but it can fix. Do you know DC for improperly healed broken bone? I have to look that up. I'm not on a computer, so I'm not gonna bring up the regulation today when it comes to that. There, sometimes you may have some things that you can't find directly, so it'll be rated analogous. So some things you're just not gonna find. Like there's no actual DC code for it. There is a DC code, but it's not gonna be rated per se in that regard. It'll just be rated analogous, so that can kind of go that way. But how did this surgery happen? Was it in the service? You know what I mean? Like what's the details behind it? Let's see. Continue change for rating sleep apnea, mental health. What equal? Good question. I actually put up a video. It's on TikTok as well, but on YouTube, the last video I put up, I go into details with the proposed changes. Legend's good. He's over there. The proposed changes that are out there. So there are some proposed changes for sleep apnea, mental health, and tinnitus. They're proposed. They're not final. I cover that whole thing in detail in that video. But as far as changes are concerned, they're just proposed. They've been proposed since 2022, and the suspense date is June of this year. So we'll see if they actually pass or not. Let's see here. Reproductive systems, yeah, but I don't think the process that's gonna be a little bit different. I believe I had some. I have to look it up. I have someone who had that. Cause I know we just had someone. They were able to get what they had. They had something. Breast cancer. That's what it was on the reproductive side. Let's see. Thanks. Rolled ATV combat training, broke clavicle, healed broken. Okay, check. Do you have the records for all that stuff too? I'm assuming. 100%. Can it ever go down? Are you PNT or not? First exam, doctor said I was over reporting and gave me a new exam for C&P or just a regular doctor appointment. Why VA appointments take so long to schedule? VA system. Sadly, you kind of get what you pay for. It's a sad process how that goes. Um, let's see. Indeed. Y'all pray for me. I got my first VA appointment on the 11th, trying to get military records in order. Like a regular VA appointment, like you're gonna go get care, Marty, or you have like an exam coming up. Let's see. If I'm 100%, can it go down? Are you PNT or not? If it's not PNT, potentially, if you improve. The new changes, if I'm 90%, can it move to 100? Can I drop my unemployment without no harm? So no, Uncle Joe. With the new changes, if I'm 90% and get moved to 100, can I drop my... No. So you won't drop it. If you go from 90, if you're TDIU and you go to 100 scheduler, there's nothing dropped. It's just a change because you're still in the 100% range. So you'll be good to go as far as that's concerned. So that happens a lot all the time. I have a bunch of veterans that are in that situation like that. Um, let's see. Check. Okay. Yeah, man. Good luck. Is there... Can't tell you, Eddie. Don't know. Submitting my BDD claim November. Let's hope not. You're welcome, buddy. Well, yeah, look into the class that I have coming up. It's gonna be recorded too, so you can kind of go back and reference it. That's gonna be a big one for sure. Phil, what's going on, my brother? On the top, well, over on the tube rather. U.S. Navy 76 to 80, 100% PNT. One of our vets who recently won. William, depends what you need. Like I said, if it's a class on a Wednesday, it's $47 for a class there. So, gonna have different, offerings and stuff. And so, like link in my bio, you see some of those different things there. So, trying to create different offerings. I don't believe everybody needs everything under the sun, and I think different vets need different things. So, it depends what you need, right? But it's not like a claim filing service or try to be like the other thing. Doing things a little bit different, as you can see. Even popping here on two places at the same time. So try a little bit of that. Same username on both sides, so on TikTok or on YouTube, same username. Both platforms are great. One just lends itself better to be able to, research things and look at things. So here insomnia is rated different PTSD. Drake, no, so I actually put a video on that. I did a live also on YouTube. If you look at the live, I did a Q&A with the Met team. Specifically, click the link in my bio, Dan. It should have it there, and you'll see kind of the different links there. C&P exam is the one coming up this Wednesday. You click that link, it'll be able to let you register for it. Let's see. I hear insomnia is going to be rated different from PTSD. Is that true? Not rated differently. Rather, now they're recognizing that insomnia, outside of being a symptom, can also be a diagnosis in and of itself. So they're going to rate it analogous to mental health, which means in the same realm as mental health. So that's one of the biggest things there for sure. If you already have a mental health rating, it won't apply to you. So that's that part. Let's see. Can you break your leash if you're going? Yeah, there should be like protection in place for that. That's very common. 90%. How hard is it to get to 100? Depends what you got, honestly. For sure. Awesome, buddy. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna be. My audio is messed up. You sound like you're on a radio. Okay, let's. Oh, all right, that should be better. I think I know what it might have been. Yeah, let me know if that sound is better now on TikTok. Ready for back, strain, MRI, show arthritis. We'll update that. Okay. Yeah. I think I had my I think I had my AirPod in my pocket. So like moving around, I probably just kind of hit that off. So that's why I switched. So my bad. People were like, oh my crap, I can't hear you. Let's see, you guys just see. Yeah, we'll work with you, but not gonna do it for you, William. So not representing you, not VSOs or lawyers, anything like that. If those folks can help you, great. But the way we do things is a little bit different. So, um, yeah, we're working with you. Permanent total is my goal. Since I have evidence, pretty sure I'll get 100. Got a lot of medical evidence to train dash. Yep, have plan of action for sure. I'm almost done with my 4-year contract. If I get out, will I be able to get? Yeah, you can technically if you're transitioning. Just depends how you go about it. And having records and things in place. So for sure, at a C&P exam, should I bring evidence to them as well? No, like migraine log, no tribal. So you can take a copy of it, but it's really for the rater that all goes to. If you submit all those things with your claim, they will have a copy of it at the C&P exam. So you don't want to bring things to the C&P exam that have not been loaded with your claim. That'll be counterintuitive and work against you, if that makes sense. Let's see. Where are you guys tuning in from? What state? Where are you physically located? It's always cool to see folks from around the world, different places. How would spouse supplemental claim help with an appeal? How so, Brian? What are you trying? What do you mean a spouse supplemental claim? My board, my referred condition is now both knees and mental health going for retirement. Caitlin, I appreciate information. Thanks for your content. I was able to get to 100. George, awesome, brother. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate that information. I appreciate you sharing and saying that, man. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. Let's see. We got Dre. What part of New York? I'm from New York. We got Phil in the building. Denver. We're in Denver. I have teams out there a lot in Denver. JC, Texas. We're in Texas. I'm actually, I feel like it's crazy. I'll be in Texas in a few weeks, actually, in Azelle by DFW. How long after C&P does it typically take to get a decision? South Carolina's in the building. It depends. Oh, Charleston. Darius in Charleston. Let's see. Sir Muzon is in South Carolina as well. Let's see. It depends, honestly, on the workflow, backlog, different things like that. So sometimes it can be days, sometimes weeks, sometimes even months. So that really varies. Um, but what I'm asking, would it be harder for me to get my claim or if it came off? Let me see. Almost done. Okay. What I'm asking, would it be harder for me to get my claim now or if it came off? Oh, no, doesn't matter how long you've been in. So, no, 10-year now, 4 years, as long as you're in that process, that's fine. Bronx, okay, from Brooklyn. George, Texas, yeah. San Antonio. I think we're going to be doing the next workshop. We did it last year in San Antonio. We might go back to San Antonio. I don't think I was going to do something with the felony program with veterans felony program in San Antonio. I was there in January, and I had a meeting with them and put on a class for them. I was going to try to go back in April. I don't think we'll be able to pull it off with the timeline there. So I'm going to go actually meet with one of our veterans in Texas. She is stage 4 terminal cancer, won her claim. Went to 100, but we're going to go meet with her, spend some time with her, and grab some content, create, record, and stuff. She wants to share some of her stories. So that'll be good there. Chicago in the building with William, North Carolina as well. On your side, it's Arnie and Dash. Okay, dope. And if so, what should I put on a migraine log? Just as intensity, frequency. Migraine Buddy is a great app to look into. Tribal for sure. Houston area. Okay, check. Yeah, I got team members all over Texas actually. Had a claim closed. I disagree with the findings. I'm from South Carolina. Okay, you can appeal that. How hard is it to get TDIU approved? Not difficult, but you need to be able to actually speak to that there. Do combat MWSs have an easier time getting rated? No, not at all. Actually, sometimes in my professional opinion, after all these years working with veterans, I think sometimes combat arms have a harder time getting rated because a lot of the things become it was just a job or it was just what I had to do. Like you don't speak to the fact that yes, I get that was your job, but let's not act like you weren't shitting your pants or you weren't scared. It doesn't take away from the fact that you're an operator and you're high speed and low drag and all this other stuff. So sometimes, like for PTSD, for example, were you in fear for your life or terroristic activity? Um, that's something you have to be able to say. And for some operators, right, that's hard to be able to actually say, hey, I was in fear for my life because I was my job. I mean, so it really depends sometimes. So it's not what you were exposed to, what you did. It's more how you reacted to what was going on. So a lot of folks are very hardened to not really open up and actually discuss what they've dealt with. Um, so that really kind of varies for sure in many different ways. Um, I hear you don't want to. I heard you don't want to get TDIU rating. If you have SSDI and apply for disability, do it. Carry not so much. It'll help, but one is completely different from the other, so they're not mutually exclusive to the other. Some folks with a VA claim go file SSDI and vice versa. The medical evidence does help either way, but they're completely different processes in a way, but kind of the same, nature was has to happen. Finally hit 90% of my own. Just need another 30 to 50 so I can get Julio. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Do you have a path and idea of what is not rated? What you're planning to do there? Want to get my board as well. Thanks, Keith. As well, I have diagnosed for both flat feet, plantar fasciitis. To use those to see if I can get 30% DOD, man. Okay, check. Check. Yeah, you got a plan of action, man. You're rocking and rolling, Dirty Dash. Thanks for the heart. My headaches are at 0, so I'm gonna try to increase. Yeah, so and I have a video on that if you haven't seen it. I touch on migraines 101. Frequency intensity is a big one, so it'll give you like the breakdown there. But frequency intensity, you have a 0, so it's an increase now. Not so difficult at the 30. Again, the frequency intensity is a big one there. But if you're talking now, like say 50%, the part to also make sure you focus on is the economic inadaptability. How does that affect you economically, right? Like, burning leave, employment problems, things of that such. Like, that's a huge one also to factor. But Migraine Buddy app showing the symptoms, speaking to the frequency, how often do they happen, how intense are they, what do they cause, or how do they impact you? That's a big one. Medication doesn't matter, how many neurologists you're going to see doesn't matter. It's all about frequency and intensity. And at the 50 range, adding the economic impact. I'll definitely check it out. Thanks, you really have been so helpful. I've been working on this. That's what's up, Julio. That's what's up. Like I said, you know what I mean. And again, it sounds like I know in our space, man, we don't trust anybody. Everybody's full of it. Everybody's a shark. Everybody's trying to get you for something. Everybody's trying to scam. I get it. But again, if the content's good and that's what you need, man, I'm good with that. Or some veterans, like I said, they need a C&P class. Boom, we have that. You're transitioning, leaving active duty service, and you want to know how to do this stuff. There's a class for that, right? Some folks have reached out. They want to talk to me, individually, even though I have an organization. Um, uh, do I put up a link and I open up my schedule. So Fridays and Mondays, I'll start taking some calls myself. And that's, whatever you guys want to talk about. So I know some folks want to do like a one-on-one or like a C&P prep or strategy or whatever the case may be. So, that's something that I'm also opened up and I put out there. So different ways to support, man. That's the biggest thing. My buddy was talking about a 10-20 rule. Um, Specifically to what? I'm not. What do you mean there, William? It's not paying right now. I've submitted my BDD claim. If I claim something that's not, can a C&P? I wouldn't go, Eric, for that. I'm not a fan of C&P diagnosed candidate. Yes, but it's their prerogative. It's not like they're required to. So I'm like, if you have the ability to, the question was, if something is not my service treatment record, can I have it diagnosed as C&P? I would say if possible, get diagnosed before you go to the C&P. There are instances where they can do that, but because it's not a requirement, you're kind of gambling. Whereas if you already have it diagnosed, even if it's not in your service treatment records, make the argument then for, again, how far removed from service are you, etc. If you need to get a nexus letter, do that thing, but don't rely on the C&P examiner to do that because that's not what they're there for. They're there to examine what you've presented, not to diagnose to help the claim. So it's kind of like, you're asking to do something. Sometimes you get a good one, and I've seen great examples of where the examiner hooked them up. They hooked them up being subjective, right? Not like you didn't deserve something, but took care of the veteran and made sure, like, hey, I got you, right? So that's a big one there. Yeah, a fully developed claim. That's a big one. That's a good point I see. So George, you know what, man? Shout out to you, my brother. Uh, so does everyone know the difference between a fully developed claim and a standard claim? I think that's a good basics point to hit. Again, some of these things they're hard to get out there because the way the system and social media works, people want to have all the fancy title, clicky baity thingamajiggy, and nobody cares about like what's the difference between this and that. But Good talking point. Do you know the difference between a fully developed claim and a standard claim? That's the question. Um, let's see. Do, 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 do. Let me see here. Okay. Getting a new knee. Check. Let's see. Jace, can I file an ITF prior to being medically discharged? My medical discharge is imminent, and I'm wanting to get secondary rated for sleep apnea. Under the current rules. So first of all, the current rules are not changing overnight. So that's the first part there. Proposed changes is all the talk of the town, but no, that's not how that works. As far as your process, you're diagnosed, you have a sleep test study done. There is no argument that you would be doing to get a secondary rating. So that's also a misconception. If you're in service, these things are all direct to service. You have sleep apnea in service. You're not going to file a secondary. That's for someone who's been out for a period of time and is saying now my PTSD causing weight gain, it's caused sleep apnea. You have sleep apnea in service. Bada bing, bada boom. So that's the way to go about that one. So as far as the intent to file, all that stuff again, as you're being med board, it's gonna be probably a little bit different on your side of the house. But as you're transitioning again to be able to the BDD program, and your side of the house, rather, that all start happening as far as the med board and claims and things like that. So make sure you have that diagnosis to be able to make that argument there. But you don't have to go secondary. PTSD exam. I had a PTSD exam the other day. The same day I received a letter stating that I was granted 50% for PTSD. I was 80. Now after checked, I'm 90. Should I ask for a reevaluation uh, to push the PTSD again, Charles? Two questions. Has the VA been denying the VA has been denying my father-in-law claim for years? He passed away last year. His wife started to fight. They asked a letter from someone that was there as proof, like a buddy letter and whatnot, because you're filing a posthumous claim in that situation. That happens. Um, will will I get disability for both boots giving me? Uh, Again, it was documented. You can file a claim for it. I'm just starting my claim for tinnitus and bilateral hearing loss. Do you think? How long you been out, Jeremy? Yeah, but I think there's a chance for sure. It's just how you're arguing it, how long you've been out, and how to potentially make the argument for that. How difficult is it to use obesity as an intermediary step to service connect sleep apnea? I have a whole video for that one actually. Um, yeah, so it's not difficult at all. This whole memorandum, I have it both on YouTube and TikTok. I specifically talk about the weight intermediary step argument. So it's just understand that rationale, line of reasoning, how long you've been out of service. A nexus letter does help, but it is very common that that happens. Is just laying out that argument very solidly to show that something service related caused weight gain, which in turn caused you know um, the condition in hand here, right? And they're going to try to rule out, make sure there's no other factors that are part of that. So that's a big one there. Let's see. Just FYI, prior service recruiter says you announce anything above 30% trying to get back in. Um, there you go. I've been in the recruiting game for a while, so can't even speak to that. I got an increase on my knees due to my weight causing, not for pain, that won't be an increase. It'll be more so range of motion and things like that. Been out since 96, Jeremy. Yeah, so Nexus letter is going to definitely help for sure. Because you have to build the evidence, because then now are the aspects of life what has caused the issues or weight gain. So that's where a Nexus letter helps, because you want to make a solid medical argument. Let's see. And harder to move, is there? Yeah, so no, the pain, no, no. But you're talking like more of a lifestyle impact claim. I have a video on that too you can check out. But really now the argument can become how this impacts me beyond the rating itself, because the rating itself won't go any higher. But now you're going to argue something to the effect of how this impacts me, and that could potentially be a mental health claim. Let's see. Thanks for follow. Service exam since the BA now requires. I think we could disconnect Eric there as far as how that process goes from one to the other, so there's a little bit of redundancy. Thanks, I'll check out YouTube on obesity. Check, yeah, for sure. What do I do when I get asked a single question during my what was the C&P exam for? gout, so episodic. How would you build evidence when you can't capture every flare up? Write it down, a log that helps to show like here is a chronicity and kind of like how often these things happen. Logs help. Letter came the same day's evaluation. Sleep apnea can be linked to service. Many ways. If it happened in service, that's one way. If it's secondary to something else, you're saying something caused it. Weight gain usually tends to be one of the arguments for that. So, for sure, that's one way. A nexus letter does definitely help. On the tube side of the house, feel free to give the video a thumbs up. I keep asking that more so because I just actually don't know how that works. So I don't think it's like a tap screen thing. Like I can see how many people are watching. I can see thumbs up. But I'm not sure if it's like you swipe up and see like the regular thumbs up on it or something like that. I guess that helps it, the algorithm. So I'm trying to figure out still on YouTube how that works. Um, let's see. I always meet all the veterans. I give them your link, give as much information I know. George, my man, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, man. That's awesome. And again, you know what I mean? Like that's to me, that's the biggest thing. If you take care of people, people take care of you, So where in Texas you at, George? Where are you in Texas? Um, what kind of questions are asked for? Well, not so much memory loss, but like what are you specifically kind of looking at, right? You file like a mental health claim, instances where you may have things of memory loss, disorientation of time and place on the mental health side. That's something there, TBI as well. So being able to speak about those things. Is it short-term memory loss that you're having, long-term memory loss? What's the impact there? Because there's different ways to kind of come at memory loss. Um, Katie's just coming in. Sorry to ask this question. No, please. And again, never, ever, ever apologize for asking the question. That's the reason that I do these lives. And, the fact is, questions are going to kind of come up again. So, got it. Yeah, for sure. I have no problem answering the question, but it's never a bother to, repeat or expand on a thing. Austin. Okay, check. I don't have anything coming up in Austin, but I'm going to be by DFW area. But I do want to go to Austin for some other stuff, so that's on my agenda. But advice for sleep apnea, Katie, how are you looking to file it? Direct this for one. First of all, and this is kind of we put a video up on my Instagram page on it. People ask about tips for like C&Ps and or claims, and that's why I always say the classes are better or lives like this because I cover the subject from start to finish. So when it comes to advice, right, there's a few things I need to know. One, are you in service? Did you get out of service? Right. Two, are you ready for anything or not? Did you complain in service? Were you diagnosed after service? What's the argument? Are we going to go secondary to something else? Is weight gain a factor in it? So there's a few different things to kind of be able to kind of hone down how to make an argument for that. So give me some details there, Katie. Let's see. Rochelle and never heard back. Tiffany Marie. When we're here on, did you send me a message here? When was that? Um, I might have missed the message. Some things don't come through, so let me know how you sent that to Tiffany. If I do a new claim, my old ratings can be reevaluated. If they're due for reevaluation, yes, but they don't negate one. So people have this constant fear of like, oh, file a claim, they're gonna open up the other stuff. Okay, well, look, I still have migraines and I still have IBS. So take a look at it if you want to. But sometimes you may have instances where some things are due for reevaluation, and in turn, they'll call you in. What's the 90% comprised of? Um, how long ago was that, Tiffany? I'll look into it. I know I'm migrating some system stuff, so technology sometimes happens, and it is what things happen too there sometimes. But yeah, let me know when that happened. I'll look it up. Send me a DM. I'll see what happened there. I know sometimes, like I said, I'm not saying your case, but I know sometimes something as simple like one person wrote like a wrong letter in the email, and it was like a whole pain trying to get to reach out to them because they didn't give a number. So it was just like crap. I kind of know what they were saying, but they put like a wrong email, something like that. But okay, Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, I'll look into it. Actually, hold on. Oh, you can't really see it here, but keys to mental success: take a Motrin, drink water, and change socks. Let me see. Let me see. Be my luck if this laptop's dead. Oh no, I think we're good. Come on, let you up. Got a little ledge action. Come on, you want to say hello to the peoples? Intent to file. Yes. All right. Let's see. Very similar, Daniel. Kind of a similar process there. Let's see. I wonder why would they schedule C&P for PTSD when they already had given. Can I have the results? You can. Yeah, you can, Charles. Primary is PTSD to MST. Would depression, anxiety be secondary? No. You only have one. It's all mental health, so they're not going to give you another one that's pyramiding. So you can argue an increase on symptoms, SAFRI, but no, you can't do a secondary like that because it's all mental health. You around this week? I'm around all the time. This Wednesday, I'm teaching our C&P class, H C&P, so that class is live this week. We have our active duty transitioning waitlist that's up and going live here in a few days. So link in my bio has that. And then I'm also opened up my schedule. So I have some slots on Monday and Fridays that I'm adding for some consults. Some people have asked they want to talk to me apparently directly, so I added that also to my schedule. PTSD, depression, IBS, shoulder arthritis. When did you get out of service, Katie? And has there been significant weight increase because of those conditions? Again, depression, the IBS, the shoulder arthritis, tinnitus. So that can potentially be an argument. Sleep apnea separate from mental health? It is. It could be a secondary. I signed up for a consultation on the website. Charles, check. Okay. Let me see. ¿Dónde está? When did you sign up, Charles? Did you just do it? All right, let me see. You said Marie, 2007. Okay. Tiffany Moore. Let's see, Moore. Yeah, Moore maybe. I want to say that was not last week though. Trying to see here, make sure. What I? Okay, there you go. Okay. Yeah. So you popped in. Yeah, I'll hit up. I see it. I see it. Yes, your stuff came in. You should have got an email and you should have got a message. But let me ping again. Just make sure. Email looks good. Okay. Yeah. So I see you there. So Amy should be touching base if she hasn't. I just want to check again because usually the same day you'll get an email from me, and then there should be one shortly thereafter, Tiffany. But I just made a note and sent the message just to double check there as well. This morning, okay. Yep, Charles, I see you. Yeah, check. You can. Yep, I see you. Rocking and rolling. Um, yep, I got you. I see you. I got you. Related to that famous comedian, Kevin. Let's see. MedBoard, I have a question on rating. What you got? VA taking forever to do claims. It did take forever to claim forever, period. It's just daggone backlog. Let's see. I filled out the information. You're waiting for someone to connect as well, Junior. Okay, check. When did you fill out some stuff there too? Um, usually, we usually look at like it was like 24, 48 hours. Now it's like more 72 hours. So, but there's like an initial email that'll go out just to kind of touch base and verify and stuff. So, that'll kind of get you rocking and rolling. But yeah, looking forward to seeing you, my brother. Let's see, '07. Are they rating mental health changes with a new skill, old skills? No, nothing's changed. I have a video up on YouTube specifically and I here on TikTok too, talks about the proposed changes. But these changes, again, they've been proposed since February 2022, and there was a commentary period until April 2022, and they have until June 2024 now as a suspense date to make a decision. So everything remains the same. Even if they do pass the proposed changes, the implementation of that will take some time because it's a pretty significant overhaul if it goes through on the mental health side. But the way we teach C&P and I talk about mental health, I actually don't do the keyword thing like people do sometimes. I actually more approach it as areas of life, how you're impacted. So I teach mental health with our vets kind of the way that the new changes are leaning towards. So we won't miss a beat. Awesome, Junior. Let's see. Thanks for the info on pyramiding. Yeah, and that's a great question too, because again, some folks just don't know. So, if you don't know, you end up, potentially putting the claim in this. It's like, oh crap, this was a waste of time. Um, let's see, weight increases can be for these for some conditions, a weight increase, Daniel, can be used as an argument. So you can't file a weight gain or obesity, even though obesity in and of itself is a diagnosable condition. Because again, they have, you know, what is it? Eating disorders, for example, as a mental health rating, and that's obviously on the negative side, right? Where you're like losing weight, bulimic, things like that. But conversely, people kill themselves also with becoming obese. I'm not talking about, hey, little, tire and little extra pounds. Like you got some morbidly obese veterans who are dealing with issues. Again, and we kind of normalize and just kind of frown upon that, but yet somebody's over there toilet puking, freaking their guts out, bulimic. But yeah, it can be used as an intermediary step. Let's see. All right, cool, Charles. Yeah, Amy will be in contact. I think she's assigned to you as well. Um, let's see here. Is IBS secondary to PDS? IBS is its own unique thing, but it can be a secondary. Yes. I'm trying to find out what to add. Where are you at, IMKG? Awarded 20%. Claim September 2023 and not date of injury back in. Is that, yeah? No, it goes off the day of the claim, your intent to file, not to the injury, as far as the claim is concerned. Is it hard to go from 90 to 100? Not necessarily hard, but like when you talk to one of my advisors, for example, we'll be able to kind of have a conversation about what you have specifically, unpack that, see if there's a way. Because we'll tell you straight up too, like if there's an argument to be had, yeah, for sure. Because you could be sitting on something like you didn't even know that was a way, or this is underrated, or whatever the case may be. So I would say it's not difficult, but it's not easy. Statistically speaking, there's 18 million veterans, and only a million of them are actually rated. So for context, that kind of gives you a little bit there for that. Okay, I have all the issues. All exams come back negative. Does that mean no compensation? For like a regular health exam, Massey, the C&P exam measure shoulder range of motion. Yep, mobility, range of motion, etc. I'm already diagnosed with mild sleep apnea in the machine. Do I have to do an exam when I file my? It depends. When were you diagnosed and examined for your sleep apnea? If it was over a period of time, they may require like some updates on that. But then how are you gonna file that claim? Secondary, something else, etc. Let's see. Hey JH, that's what's so proud, man. Appreciate you. The now for in attendance HLR, different examiner filled out my form stating I need help. Okay, Gabby. High blood pressure, presumptive. I double check. I don't believe so, Carlos. But we got you, Tiffany, though. Let's see. Check. Okay, I'll check. Again, the email should have gone out, though. Because the email on yours. Check your spam. Because I know a few folks have had some issues with some of the stuff that went out. Shoot me a message on here and with your email. I'll take a look at it after I get done here too. Let's see. We'll catch up. BSO refused to provide. That's weird. Why wouldn't they put that in there? Mental health, yeah. Mental health can go from 0 to 100, so you can. Percentage for surgery? No, no. So not the surgery itself, rather the issue that the surgery was required for. Waiting on supplemental claim with decision, Ronnie. That waiting game. Is it true I can start filing ATS also the service? Yeah, yeah. 180 days out, you start the process with BDD. So you have that 180 to the 90-day period to be able to do that. No percentage around surgery, no. The condition. Surgery is just a procedure. Submit my claim for increased doc letter and x-rays. Check, Jay. Okay. Speaking to the mental health symptoms, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I put on that, but really it's a symptom conversation. So I cover a lot of mental health, like on the C&P exam class. Coming this week, I touch on mental health pretty heavily because it's a huge thing that veterans sometimes can't speak to. In your case, specifically looking at speaking to the symptoms, they're separating you because of that, but then come VA claim time, right? What are the symptoms? How does it impact you? Present tense. The biggest thing with mental health claims, it's a present tense conversation versus a what happened thing. And I know it's hard for us because it's easy to say, well, this happened to me. And any claim actually, it's always a, well, I should get paid for this and this happened, this happened. Okay, that's fine, but what's happening today? What's my issue today? Well, how does the range of motion affect me today? How does the IBS, the migraine, the mental health, etc. How do those things affect me in the now? So those are some things to really reset the conversation to a present tense thing. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there for sure. But I treat it pretty much like a C&P as far as understanding how to speak to the mental health aspect. Quite often, Gabby, it happens. Sometimes they just jack it up. Get remanded. Okay, that's good, little. Yeah, it just means they're still working on it, so not a bad thing. Evan. Yeah, that's sadly not too crazy. It's the daggone weight, excuse me, is insane on the VA side. Is it true PTSD is the same mental health? Good question, Charles. So PTSD, it falls under mental health. So PTSD, generalized anxiety, major depressive disorder, a combination of all those things, insomnia, etc., somatic symptom disorder, all those different mental health criteria, mental health diagnoses, all fall under mental health. So there's one rating for that. Now, if we're talking eating disorders, that's a separate thing. But for mental health, they all fall under the same rating criteria. Discharge and if, so Jay, so there's different on the guard side. Is it M Day or are you AGR? Just got done with C&P exam for PTSD on Wednesday. David, how do you think it went, my brother? Attorney sent HLR. Hope it gets overturned. What are the odds? Pretty good. Again, it's just sometimes they just get it wrong. I had a veteran who was denied his migraines about 5 times over 3 years, and it was just an uphill battle for no other reason. They just got it wrong. So sometimes you got to just stay in the fight. So that's kind of different. On the M Day side, benefit discharge again. You know how many points do you have? They compute that, so it's a little bit different. So it's not going to be anything like AGR or active duty, just because of how that stacks up on the M Day side of the house. But again, if you're not fit for duty and they feel that you're kind of sunset and they can retire you, they'll have the matrix that they'll pull as far as the point system, how all that adds up. But it won't be treated, obviously like the active or guard side, AGR side. Can you claim? So yeah, PTSD due to MST is the claim. So MST falls under PTSD, so it's part of a post-traumatic stress disorder, and that gets filed as personal assault. So yeah, that can be a claim. So how does Pact work when you deploy to these different locations? So Pact, like Gulf War, like Agent Orange, any presumptive is an umbrella. So you, for example, meet the requirements of being in theater or wherever you were at or whatever the case may be. Check. That's part one. So we have an event stressor or a situation. But now you still need 3 things, right? A diagnosis, a event or stressor, right? How is it caused, made worse by military service, and a nexus connecting those things. By having a presumptive, right, you don't have to argue the nexus. You're just showing that, hey, I was here because of the presumptive, Pact, et cetera, Agent Orange, Gulf War, and I have a diagnosis. So the key here then becomes a diagnosis. I was in a Gulf, but I can't just claim Gulf War. Rather, I'm saying I have IBS or respiratory issues because of Gulf War, or I have Parkinson's diabetes because of my exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam, or as noted in PAC Act, I have, let's say, a reproductive cancer that's now recognized. We had a veteran. Well, I'm going to go to Texas to see actually. She it has stage 4 breast cancer, and she met the criteria under PAC Act for location she was deployed to, and was able to file that claim, and she won. Sadly, because she's also terminal. So you know what I mean. But an example of kind of how that process can work. Let's see. Can you not claim PTSD if that is your yeah, you can. Yeah, you could definitely claim PTSD. So I don't cover. That's going to be hillbilly Terra, toxic exposure risk activity. As far as the job that you've been exposed to, now Terra, which again kind of came with PAC Act, now opens the door. So a lot of people ask questions about, for example, the Fort McClellan's, the Camp Lejeune, water, toxins and so forth, or JP jet fuel, or to your point, um, hillbilly Wisconsin being covered in fuel and things like that. So Terra is a big one now, right? Terra, T-E-R-A, Terra, Terra, T-E-R-A, toxic exposure risk activity. That pretty much now gives you the ability to say, hey, look, I was exposed to these toxic things. That in turn now gives you kind of like the green light. So think of it like a blanket presumptive, just to make it easier for explanation purposes. But that authority now lets them say, hey, here was my job. This is what I was exposed to. This is the jet fuel things. But then now, what am I arguing? So yeah, we were covered in jet fuel. I'm fine. But you, on the other hand, have the skin condition, cancer, whatever the case may be. You're linking it back, showing that, hey, exposure to this stuff, some common side effects are da 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 da. Da. And you would argue it that way. So Terra really is the big one for things like that fuel piece. Assume a rating? No, I wouldn't assume a rating. By reading a thing, no. I feel discouraged since I hear that only 1 out of 10. No, no, don't believe that, Gabby. That's so those numbers. Eh, eh, eh. And again, this is I've been in this space for quite a number of years now. Look online, see the content, see what we've done. Work with veterans remotely, worked with them directly. Part organization, started a thing, left a thing, did my own thing. Have a whole crew. I got VSRs, ex-VSRs, ex-VSOs, so a very vast network. So we've seen a lot of things. My whole point, I've seen a lot of things. Thousands of veterans over the years. And the statistics are not like that. Like that's not a thing that I would ever even say. Like 1 out of 10 gets approved. No, no. There's reasons why sometimes HLRs don't get approved is because it's missing stuff. So that's not a barometer of your rating or your claim. It's just, let's say for argument's sake, you're missing a key piece of evidence. An HLR is never going to help you, right? So HLRs to me are very misleading because if you ask me a question now and say, "Hey DP, what do you think about this claim I have? Should I do a high level review?" I'll be honest with you, unless I worked with you or I've seen what you've submitted or I know the details of the entire claim, I wouldn't do an HLR because there's probably something missing in there. And let's say upon further review, it's like, yeah, every day of the week you're gonna get denied. You're missing something. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know these things because sometimes people just say, hey, file for everything, you're good to go. Nope. Argument could have been made stronger. So supplemental claims then becomes a play because now it's like, wait a second, they said they denied you for this. Let's double down, get more medical evidence or whatever is needed for this. Now to support that argument, and then you can file a supplemental and have a better chance there. So that's one of the things I would say there. So higher level reviews, not a good barometer for discouragement. Rather, it could just be you're missing things. So a high level review would never be the play, right? Again, not knowing the details of the claim itself, but don't get discouraged for that because it's not a numerical statistic thing. It's just literally, again, you need to have a diagnosis, in-service event or stressor, and a nexus connecting those things. You're missing one of those three things, you're not going to connect it. Some folks sit here filing all day thinking a C&P exam is going to diagnose them. You got denied. Why? Because you have no diagnosis. You complain to service, but you don't have a current diagnosis. Denied. That's not a HLR statistic thing. It's just your claim was just missing things. A very vague example, but just, for context, Gabby. But a very valid point. Let's see. I think I saw your name too, guy. By the way, I think I saw you message me, so I'm not up to your message yet. I have literally like about 100 and change messages on TikTok. So, but I do remember your name. I have a thing with names. So, let's see. The request for you to hurt your no, it doesn't. Yeah, that's like the request decision button on the website. It's almost like the crossing street button. You know what I mean? It makes you feel like it's gonna make the light change quicker. It's not. Autoimmune disorders, can you claim those? Yeah. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. There's different things that are there. There are autoimmune conditions that can be caused by your exposure to certain things. So yeah, those things can be argued. There's a whole section for those things too. Diagnosed with PTSD, but it's not service connected. Am I still able to claim PTSD? So okay, and so that's the biggest thing here. You have so a good thing to for this point. So the question is, I have PTSD, but it's not service connected. So now let's understand how we make arguments to the VA. For claim purposes, we have to understand that the VA under it has three different administrations: BVA, VHA, NCA. BVA, Veterans Benefit Administration; VHA, Veterans Health Administration; NCA, National Cemetery Administration. Not touching on cemeteries for this obvious conversation, but the main two we focus on is BVA, VHA. VHA is healthcare. They'll diagnose you, they'll give you CPAPs, they'll give you pills every day of the week. BVA rates you, compensation. Think of BVA, VHA like Social Security and Medicaid. One is not the other. Just because you got Medicaid, you're not gonna get Social Security. So in this case here, it's the same thing. You have a diagnosis, one, but now what's the event or stressor you're linking that PTSD to, and then how are you connecting the argument to make it there? So you can potentially file a claim, but again, by virtue of PTSD, something may have happened and you never complained about it. So you have to be able to make the argument for it. So you are able to claim and make an argument for it, but you're still gonna have to make the argument, right, and connect it back and whatnot. So that's gonna be a big one there. Getting a diagnosis via community care, yeah, that community care, private providers or the VA will be valid for sure. I was performing clinic for 4 months. They said they're not doing nothing about the site. Was no claim. And again, no, correct. But now with Terra though, toxic exposure risk activity, you have the argument say, okay, I get all that, but I was exposed to something toxic or whatever the case may be. That now is a new pathway that will help for an argument that say David in your side of the house, if you're looking at filing a thing you may have, right? How long does it take to get a C&P exam, Danny? It depends, honestly, man, on a variety of different things. How long does it take the VA to get around, location, complexities, workload, etc. So it really just is a crapshoot, sadly. I've seen folks file on a Monday, called on a Wednesday, examined on a Friday, and I've seen folks waiting months. Over a year, waiting for a rating. They says they're correcting error. Okay, that'll definitely slow things down. 20%, but only claim date 23, not from 2018. It is normal. Yeah, it's for the claim date, not the injury date. Presumptive is a joke. The VA denied my diagnosis that was supposed to be a presumptive. Robert, what specifically was that? What's the payment amount for SMC if I need help with more than three? The aid in attendance, pretty much there. I gotta pull the current figure. I think they changed on that one. When did you file for that aid in attendance? Let's see. How do you claim MST? Just like PTSD, a regular claim. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so they factor some stuff in there, Gabby. I think the amount's like between 2,000 and change to 3,000 and change, depending on income and all these other different things. Let's see. Shot in the eye, sim round, training. Eyes are hard. Again, where we're at now and what's the situation today. Eyes okay. Yeah, if your eyes okay, then that's where you go. What's up, ACOPE? Your video CMP for PTSD was helpful, Charles. Awesome. Even for BDD, Danny. Yeah, same process. They're supposed to expedite them, but it's up to the VA now. So, you know what I mean? That's where sometimes if your BDD it's supposed to be where everything is done by the time you get out, but some vets will literally ETS or retire, and they're still waiting on some things to happen. Just kind of the way the daggone, system does its thing. What's up, ACOPE? Let's see. I really appreciate what you're doing. You're welcome, B. That's what it's all about, man. Yeah, hanging out for a little bit. Check out the links in bio for those that popped in. If you just popped in, let me know what branch of service you were in, the years that you served. Links in bio this week. Got a bunch of stuff happening. C&P exam class I'm teaching on Wednesday. Links in bio for that. So if you have a C&P coming up, check that out. Wait list will be going live. Well, those on the wait list will be getting the email to go live for the active duty transitioning class I'm doing, a BDD workshop. So that's going to be March 19, covering C&Ps for those transitioning active duty service. So everything for those folks, the wait list is for that. So you can definitely jump on that if you know someone who needs that. And what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? My personal link, I put that up there. I know some folks have wanted to have like personal strategy session or C&P private stuff with me, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm starting to open up some dates. So that's also showing up on my link in bio. But the active duty class, that's a big one. So you get a higher rating if you have IBS diagnosed. No, no. So medication has nothing to do with rating in this conversation. It's all symptom based. So what are the symptoms? Say as far as the condition, right? What is based off of symptoms and severity. Does ED from a rated condition count? ED gets rated as a 0, and that kicks off an SMCK for men or for women, which is female S arousal disorder. That's treated the same way. What do I do if I got denied for anxiety and depression with only seeing a therapist once in a while? You can push back no and make the argument as to why not. So there's different ways to kind of go through that process. Let's see. I'm going to vet guardian myself. Cool. Let me know how that works out for you. Hopefully. Good. BDD claims. When do service members start getting? It should be if it's all done as soon as you leave service, it kicks in there. Should if it's not finished, then it kind of goes another way. Sonia. Let's see. 2 different BA examiners have filled out form. Reason why attorney things have a chance. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of a hassle going back and forth, but I think making the argument there if they have a chance for it, check. But yeah, let me know how it works out. I got on 2018. Only finally recently. Will it be hard to get anything hillbilly? No. So this is a very good point. I just got back from Arizona. My oldest veteran now who got rated. His name is Carl. He's a World War II veteran and filed for his first claim last year when he was 95. So we were out there for his birthday. And he was out for well over 50 plus 60 years. Another veteran I have, Vietnam veteran, he's out for like 50 years before he filed. So I say that to say that these individuals, these vets, were able to win their claim. But it requires obviously a little more, planning and strategy in the sense that it's not going to be something that just happens, randomly. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't throw something against the wall, see what happens. Obviously, a lot of life has happened, so making the argument, being able to point those things for sure is going to be key. But it is possible, is my whole point. But the approach has to be very strategic in a sense of how you're going to argue the things. What records do we have? All the things to be able to put into that. But no, you have not been out too long. On top of Gabby, on top of it. So the 100 on top, and the SMC goes on top of that, so it doesn't replace. Okay. 70%. I was diagnosed in last year. 7% PC. Okay, check. Okay. Marine vet here. Is it hard getting a rating for sleep apnea? No, not so hard. So I always, I preface with the things where it's not a hard conversation. Rather, it's more how. This is what the question was: is Marine vet here? Is it difficult getting sleep apnea service connected? So it's. I don't never look at things as hard, right? I look at things as solving problems. So what's the argument we're making? Because even veterans who it was a difficult fight, it may not happen on the first go. You may have to appeal it. Some conversations may have to go before a judge and be awarded that way. So, it's cool to hear somebody say they got 10 years of back pay, but you don't see it was 10 years of fighting, right? But again, depends how long you've been out. What's the argument? Are you doing secondary to something else? Were you diagnosed in service? If not, is it something pre-existing? Is something was aggravated? So there's a lot of different things that are needed. So when anybody ever gives you an answer and says, you can't do this, I vehemently am against that because you'll never hear me say anything's definitive. Again, medicine is not definitive. By default, you cannot say that my medical conditions didn't stem from a thing. That's the anomaly of medicine. It's hard to just say, where something came from. So I say that to say that when it comes to VA claims, it's similar arguments, right? Anything can be argued. Whether or not it meets the criteria, that's a different conversation. The change they just made right now, recently for insomnia, for example, they're recognizing it as a standalone condition that's rated analogous, similar to mental health. But here's the irony: insomnia has always been a diagnosis, right? So sometimes the VA may take some time to update their system to recognize things, right? But no, not so much a difficult thing, just more what's your situation, and then based off your situation, how you fight that argument, because your argument will vary from somebody active duty transitioning now to somebody who's been out for 20 years. It's so again, so that could be construed at times that it might be difficult, but some work needs to happen, right? But I don't like to say this just like hard because that's demotivating to people. Like the vet that said, I heard that HLR is only given like 1 out of 10 wins, and that's discouraging. And this process is so discouraging. There's got to be hope. It is possible. It's just we may have to fight a few rounds. You know what I mean? Like, let's work at it. Like, everybody wants to be a Mike Tyson one round knockout. But sometimes, you may have to go 12 rounds. You may have to do an appeal or two. You may have to go before the judge. But the fact is the fact. You know what I mean? Your truth is your truth. And sometimes it may take a little time for the system to get it right. But yeah, it's very unique to the situation. Again, the way you go at something will vary the way I go at something. Right, Leggy? That just kicked me. It's like, you made the point. Move on. Let's see. Having C&P exam next week. CPAP, blah blah blah. Ron, best thing I can tell you is I'm teaching a C&P class this Wednesday. If you could jump in, that'd be the best way to go at it because that's a whole hour of class and an hour of Q&A. But specifically on your side of the house, it's symptom based, right? Speak to the symptoms, speak to what you have. Again, I don't even know. I actually put the video up on my on Instagram, but I don't know really kind of where you're at with that, Ron. You know what I mean? Are these initial claims? Are these denials that you're going back for? Is this increases? Right? That dictates how we argue or how we kind of approach that too. Hardship for being, yep, Charles. They'll do a flash for like homelessness, terminal conditions and stuff. Those things, yeah. Let's see. I'm happy that you love kissing who you love. That's good for you, my friend. The horror stories I hear are so foreign to me. I got 100% first try filing. Resistance filing for years. I'm saying that because you can't get. Yeah, yeah. And that's my whole thing. Like, I'm not oblivious to the horror stories. I posted one on TikTok of 2 horrible C&P exams for MST veterans, and the support and people commenting stuff was very helpful because again, people have to hear these things. But there are some people that straight to bat, they file, they have everything in place, boom, they win, they're good. But you don't hear about that, right? We default to the negative. But it's a complicated system, sadly, where there's just different operators and different things, excuse me, at play. So some vets don't have an issue. But the problem is when my I guess my pet peeve is, well, I filed my claim and I won immediately. So you too should be the same. It's like, yeah, that's a good story, guy. But I got denied 5 times. I've given everything. Everything you said I did, I still didn't get it. So make it make sense. You know what I mean? So that's where I think sometimes that's very callous to just be like, well, just because one person won their claim, they think everybody else should win it too. That's lack of context, right? When you work with veterans and you see at scale what's actually happening, you see there's so much variety of how things play out. Again, it's an imperfect system of good people trying to do good work, but it's just, it is what it is. Tell everybody not to be the tough guy. Range of motion displays to show. Yeah, being a tough guy is one of the biggest problems. Info, patient. What specifically Anna we talking about there? C&P exam, now 5 months waiting for sleep decision, connecting obstructive sleep apnea. Okay, check. 5 months not too long. It sucks, but yeah. What do you get diagnosed with adjustment disorder with depressed mood as you're leaving service? That's very common. And then over time, that adjustment disorder turns into full-blown depression or anxiety. Diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea. Is it hard to get a rating, Louis? No. It's just more how you're going to argue it and how you're going to service and the details of how you're going to argue it. So got my results. They approved both ankles, left knee, shoulders, but they're denying both feet. Potentially crazy. You can appeal that and see why did they deny that. Was it something pre-existing that you had, or are they saying other things? Been waiting for a judge to review my claim. It was denied for sleep apnea. Waiting nearly 2 years, I'm assuming, not 2 hours. Yeah, that's pretty par for the course. Let's see. As long as you need it, Charles. No issues, but I was infantry, so yeah, not so much. You know, what I mean, it's just again, it's just being able to make the argument. Some people, especially like somebody asked a question earlier about is it hard for combat arms to get rated? I wouldn't say it's hard for combat arms to get rated. I just think sometimes for operators, it's just difficult to come to grips with things. So, I was in the military, for example. I transitioned from the military to counterterrorism. I was a federal air marshal, so I worked in counterterrorism. Not to say that to get cool points, but just as an example, a lot of the people that we worked with and set up the Federal Air Marshal Agency, we had special operators. Just put it that way, in the sense of how our agency was stood up and how training is involved and what counterterrorism involves, right? So a lot of special forces folks that stood up the training and the program, and it's a whole thing. But that creates a very kind of alpha mentality of people, right? Like we are these people, whatever the case may be. And I'll tell you, the casualties we've had of not only veterans but people on the job, it's alarming because again, it's just this A-type mentality, alpha male mentality, and you just don't admit weakness, right? We don't freaking croak, we just regroup, in Valhalla, and all these different things that are cool to say. But it's hard to really open up Pandora's box and just be a human being experiencing a human experience, whether that be a disability, an injury, or what have you. So um, it can be hard, is my whole point of saying that for combat armed personnel to be able to speak about the fact that you feared for a thing, like for PTSD, for example, right? One of the key things there is, did you fear for your life or terroristic activity? You know what I mean? And I get that for some people, it's like, what do you mean? I'm not scared. Nothing scares me. I'm freaking, blah, 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 blah. I know that motivational stuff. Okay, that's cool, man. But like, you're not fooling anybody. I get it in service during job, etc. But you're not that person anymore. Now you're filing a claim. You have issues post service. Let's go ahead and be realistic about what exactly was happening in here, right? So yeah, I just filed my claim for PTSD from MST left ankle through a lawyer. Or MST claims really hard to get passed through. I got out 2 years ago and now just filed. No, 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 no. One of my oldest veterans, she had an MST from 1976, and she won her claim um, uh, somewhere like in the 2020s, early 2020s. I had another veteran male type who was MST victim from 1985, 86, and he was rated his MST after 3 denials in 2019. Point being, it's not no. There's many factors as to why things like PTSD, MST, etc., take time at times for people to come forward and speak on it. There's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of things. Many times veterans don't report stuff. It is possible to file MST, PTSD claims, even if you never complained about it, because there are things like markers. Um, have to be looked into, like all the things that are happening in your life. That is a paper trail of what is happening, and it is used to be able to piece that together to show, hey, what happened. This veteran, again, 86, this situation happens, goes from being a rising star in the army to getting booted out, then homelessness and drug use and legal problems, all these different things. What happened to the 180? Like, there's all these things that are there. I use a very basic example to kind of make people understand what markers are. Think about when a child, for example, is assaulted, inappropriately, to kind of be PC because of social media. After it comes out that the child was, assaulted, inappropriately, you hear things like, "Oh, no wonder the child was always, whenever we said we were going to go so and so's house," or their tummy always ached whenever you mentioned so and so," or "When we're gonna go over here, they pissed themselves." Like the body's reacting to, I don't want to be around this danger because something's happened to me. And babies and kids respond to that way. As adults, the same thing happens. Markers is that all of a sudden you go from being a PT stud to letting yourself go. All of a sudden you want to get out of your unit. You have now requests to get out of your unit. Now you're trying to go to the chaplain's office. Now you're trying to get, all these things are happening that are completely you trying to get away. Section request changes, MOS change request changes, duty station request changes. All the things you're doing to get away from the stressor are things that can be used as markers. Post service, even in life, relationship fails, all these different issues. You go from your, high speed, low drag, doing it and all that good stuff to just so all those things piece together an argument. So to the question, right? It's not hard to get past. And again, you hear me say this over and over again. It's not a hard situation. It's just it has to be done delicately to be able to really capture the story of the veteran of how they're making this argument. Not just I have PTSD, MST, just file and claim it. Or if you didn't complain or don't have a police report, you can't file it. Absolutely wrong. It just takes time, and that's what people sometimes don't have. But if you find someone that can help you, can take time and sit down with you and really listen and understand have these things really affected you. Let's capture that truth and help you better tell that to the system, because that's where a lot gets lost in translation. So hopefully that makes sense. Mm, symptom. It's a symptom conversation. That's when it's going to be a big thing for rating percentages, right? At 30% range, for example, top of your head, look it up. On the mental health side of the house, people talk about they have some anxiety, some panic attacks, some mild sleep issues, some mood irritability. They're suspicious and they're blah blah blah. 30% every day of the week. You're not saying anything. But if you look at my video on both, the tube and talk, on 50% or to 70 or 70% to 100 mental health jump, you're having to talk about more personal things and unpacking that. Now I'm not talking about, for example, at the 50% range that I have, difficulty doing something. At the 70 range, I'm saying I have the inability to do something. So when a veteran's like, well, it's hard for me to make friends, I'm like, dude, what hard? You literally have 2 divorces. You've been fired 4 times as you're alone. Your kids want to talk to you. Like, you cannot function around people. I'd say it's more than difficult. You have an inability to do something. Well, that would be accurate. Well, that's the difference between a 50 and a 70. Again, not one key word, but just for the example of showing how we're breaking down the actual symptoms we have. Because as veterans, we're big on the, like, you get it, you understand. No, stop, break it down Barney style. I have failed in many areas of my life. It is difficult for me to do XYZ. These are the things that are happening, not some key words, but your keywords, your truth, the embarrassing truth. And these are the things I unpack in my C&P class, because it's like there's things I can't say online because of social media that will get me freaking completely blocked here. But we have to. It's you have to really go deep, and I touch on this. I go really really deep, and I promise you come to my class, I'll probably trigger you. But it's for a reason, because you have to be able to understand, like training, right? The body can't go where the mind hasn't gone. And you have to be able to understand just what I'm talking about, how deep at times you have to go, and you know, but yeah, so not difficult, but more so detailed. Um, Finding VA with my tinnitus, so Bravo, bang bang, sleep study, diagnosed, sleep exercise. It is a claim already quite. Yep. It's active duty. Yep, those are rested leg syndrome. Can a battle buddy system work? Bible proof. Yep, battle buddy letters work. My diagnosis was mad as a hatter. Oh sweet lord. Who decides secondary conditions, the VA or the vet submitting? The vet is the one saying this was caused by this, right? So you're making the argument for the secondary to the VA. Hey, could you talk a little bit about the reserves? I was prior active service and reserve contract ends soon. Am I able to make new claims when it's different? On the reserve side of the house, how are you going to claim it back? So if you're saying something was stemming from active duty service, really it's about the nexus back to service. Because of your reserve or National Guard, that's where it becomes kind of tricky, especially for National Guard, because you have state orders versus federal orders. So were you on active duty? Basically, were you on the job, or were you just at home doing your own thing? That's where it gets a little bit kind of tricky. I'm afraid to apply for total knee replacement because they keep denying me. Applying for, I don't, try it one more time. What are some of the things? Okay, I answered that one. Hey, bro, I have 10 conditions on my award letter, service connected, and 0 best strategy. Again, what are the ones that you have, right? Again, what is a terrain? Talk to me, Goose. What we got? What you working with? C&P exams are all over the place. Sonya, look, let them know. Let them know. Matter of fact, I want to pin that because folks need to know. Hey, LA. I got some of the team in the mix jumping on in. Appreciate y'all. And also, one thing that's pretty cool about this, like, people answer stuff in the questions. Like I said, you'd be surprised. People may not identify themselves, but I'll tell you because I know who they are. You got literally raiders and VSRs and VSOs, XVSOs, XVSRs, RVSRs that are literally in the chat sometimes or in the videos commenting. And you'll tell kind of the tone, because some people answer stuff just kind of hip and, like just random answers. Like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, this makes no sense. So be careful sometimes, even in these things. I'll answer everybody as best as I can. Be patient with me. Repeat the question if you have to. Some things don't come over. Don't mention medication. Don't mention offing yourself. Certain things you say, the system will strip it, and I won't see it. So sometimes I'm reading through stuff, and I'm like, so what you call it? So that's something to consider there. But of course, it wouldn't be social media without social media. On YouTube, somebody's asking what I think of Drake's nether regions. I don't think about Drake or his nether regions, but that's fun. Let's see. Social media. Let's see. But I appreciate folks jumping in, helping, answering questions. That's all dope and copacetic. And even sharing your own story, like I said, because and sometimes like I'm not saying it's gonna work for you, but this happened to me. Even those things are good for people to read. So I like having these moments because what happens is people now can get context of what somebody else maybe did. Not saying it's gonna happen to you, but perspective is good. I'm within 12 months of retirement, fighting through every appointment, looking at everything I've ignored the past 19 years. Is it a pain, but basically going head to toe? Some medical folks have been more helpful than others. Check, Mr. Sir. Yep. And grab it if you want. I have a link in my bio that has the free BDD checklist for those transitioning. So it kind of has like a little checklist of things there. There's also a link there for an active duty class that I'm doing for active duty people, rather leaving active duty. So for BDD claims, that's a workshop I'm putting together. There's a waiting list for that, and that actually kicks off March 19th. So walking through that whole process for folks in that process there, like people like in your case, you're 12 months out, 2 years out, or as you're starting the process, like cover claims for active duty folks in that whole situation there, medical records, how to do with things, C&P exams, all those different type of things. Okay, story time. The craziest message I got. When I tell you I get some messages, man, I get some messages. Uh, Bless his soul. I got a message from someone online, and the person reaches out and says, "Hey, I'm shipping out. What can I do to better, do my claims or whatever?" And I'm like, "Okay, you're shipping back CONUS or you're leaving service. Like, talk to me, Goose." And he's like, "No, no, I'm going to boot camp." And I'm like, what in the absolute heck? And I know someone's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's a sham or trying to get over." Like, no, I'm like, dude, that's the last thing to worry about. You're not even in service, and you're talking about a C&P exam. And again, we're going from one extreme to the next. We go from people who never filed a claim because they were told not to do a thing to people that are so terrified of seeing the horror stories that they're trying to figure out how to do it way before they even go into service. I'm like, stop it. Of course, I read it more so along the lines of, could the person potentially be trying to game the system? I don't know. You know what I mean? But my impression was more so like someone trying to figure out, like, hey, what do I need to do? And I'm like, dude, you need to serve, man. Live your life. Go out there, be dumb, make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Freaking drink water, piss vinegar. Fall in love, fall out of love, get your heart broken. You know what I'm saying? Buy a car that you can't afford. Like, go be all the dumb things that E1, E2, E3 does. But just like, explore the world, man. Just live life, enjoy the moment because it's gone before you know it. And it's just interesting to me that like being on social media across all this platform, I talked to, like I said, I just came back from Arizona, a 96-year-old veteran who was in World War II, out over 60 years. I saw his personal notes. I was in his house for his birthday, and handwritten notes of him in service in the 50s and 60s. Like it's surreal. Like, man, what is life right now, right? And then you have someone who's literally shipping out, and they're like trying to figure out, hey, how do I make sure I don't get screwed like my pappy or my uncle? The range is so crazy at scale, working with veterans and apparently soon to be veterans or not even soldiers or sailors. But that to me has got to be the wildest thing. I'm like, yeah, please do not show up in my class. I told straight up, I'm like, if I see you in my class, I'm gonna kick you out. Do not come. Like, come on, style. Do not come. Do not come. Like, what? I thought that was funny, but there's a little story time for you. There's the stuff that happens, man. It can be comical. Okay, I hit under reserve. I hit on that one. What if we file PTSD, but it really actually falls on MST money? So that happens sometimes. Some veterans can file for PTSD and not mention the MST, and they'll get rated. It's not gonna make a difference in the sense of the rating criteria because it's still mental health ratings. It's just gonna be given as depression or anxiety. So that's one of those things where sometimes the principle is I want to have it recognized. That's different, but it's not like it's gonna make a difference on the rating side because it's still a claim nonetheless. So there's different things that can factor. A veteran can have an MST argument and a regular PTSD argument and regular anxiety argument and a regular depression argument or an adjustment disorder too. So different things, different ways to factor it there. But that does happen a lot, money. Let's see. Options for what? As far as the class, it's $47. Filed for BDD, but I forgot to put PTSD and sleep apnea. What do I do? It's just still, are you still able to add it? If not, you still can after the fact. Is asthma difficult to claim? It's difficult to breathe. But again, how are you going to file it? Is it presumptive? Is it secondary something else? Did you complain in service, etc.? Let me see. Damn it, Sonny says, what the F? LOL. Man, look. What the F indeed. There were scandalous stories about units in that were faking getting their C because they had no change in the wire. Yeah, that's my whole thing. But again, the problem is, you're gonna always have a group of sandbaggers everywhere you go and malingerers everywhere you go. Falsifying records of CIBs and things that didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like you got to go ahead and freaking deal with your conscience on that if you even have one. It sucks, but my problem is that those people that do bad things are the minority, but they also deter veterans who need help who don't get help because it becomes a whole like you should be happy with what you have. It's like me saying, "Hey, Sonia, you should be happy with the medication you got, even though it doesn't work. Go back to the doctor, get reevaluated, get a better medication protocol, better, like, I don't understand. Like, I get it, but at the same token, like, it's not mine to give. I never complained and said, oh, Willie got paid, this last pay period. He shouldn't get paid the next one. What? You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to disabilities, man, there's such a stigma around things, and it's born from ignorance. It's a bad mentality of like you look fine, you're fine, you got two legs, two arms, don't complain, don't get welfare, and all the things people say. But nobody complained when I was in service and got paid on the first and 15th. You know what I mean? So that's the part that hurts me because I talked to one Air Force veteran. Again, there's some I could just sit here and do nothing but story time. It's crazy. One veteran Air Force reaches out, MST complex, served 8 years Air Force, and reaches out and says something about basically she couldn't file a claim. And I'm like, why not? She says because I didn't do 20 years. I said, I'm sorry, say that one more time. She says I didn't file my PTSD MST because didn't do 20 years. I was told that you have to do 20 years to retire. I said, absolutely not. Who told you this? You have a whole ass veteran out here with a whole ass truckload of issues and things and benefits they left on the table because someone told them some baloney about you need to do 20 years. Again, who failed that person? Who knows? But the ignorance is grave, sadly, in this space. Can you be diagnosed PTSD, anxiety, depression? I'm not a fan of that diagnosed at the C&P type of thing there for sure. They can, but I'm not a fan of it. They're not required to, but they can. Again, for PTSD, that's a unique situation. Other things, you may not even get a C&P for that. But if you're able to get seen and have a diagnosis, it'll work in your benefit or be better. My wife filed and she thinks it's going to be denied because she filed. No. So again, but why, right? So there's different ways to look at that. And even if they do deny it, right, it could just be you missed something, you step out, you push back. So let's say your wife does get denied, right? And you're like, hey, DP, my wife got denied. We tried this. I'm gonna give up. I'm like, why? You just appeal, get the right things that was missing, and if she wins her claim, guess what? It gets backdated to her original claim. As long as she's actively pursuing the claim. So sometimes I know it sucks, but think about it. Okay, you've been doing this for a year, you got denied, you're disenfranchised, you feel whatever, the system let you down, F everybody, do the whole boys, in the hood, freaking punch in the air, being mad and crying. Got it. Are you done? Let's appeal. Let's put what was missing in there. Do it right. Don't let a year lapse from the denial. And guess what? If the VA takes a whole another year to process your claim and you win, now you got back pay for 2 years. See it all the time. Let's see. I forgot to. Yes, you can add it potentially. Filed FTC late January. How long does it take? Oh, please. It's gonna be a while with the backlog, so no real time frame. It was usually like 120 something days. Now it's about 158 days. Esna Yeli, she's on my team as well. Um, is just noted. Okay, let's see. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. My wife is so bad. She does not like being 100%, man. Money like man, look. Um Check out like put my username in the search and MST. The amount of veterans that we work with actively who are MST are is insane. One of my advisors, I have people on my team who are freaking MST rated. I get that. I understand that. Wholeheartedly. I understand. when it comes to that, for your wife, right? Even if she doesn't win this claim, I would encourage you to really kind of sit down and reset and look at, okay, does she have a CMP yet? Is she able to understand how to go into the CMP and talk about that? Because again, you understand what she is experiencing and stuff, but there's so much in there to unpack, especially for complex traumas, PTSDs, MSTs, and things like that. It's difficult for veterans to open up. Again, um, but those are things that are markers, like I was saying earlier, money, as far as these are the things like you see this as a husband. Like, you know what I mean? Your wife doesn't even like she's not able to really function a certain way. So how about the PTA meeting, right? How about being able to do certain things? Like at some point, unless she's with you going somewhere, that's a problem. But then here's the other part. Even being with you, you also still get like a daggone push because um there's veterans, like my wife's a veteran as well, you know, whether or not you're a veteran or not, dual veteran doesn't matter. It's like even then, you know, they want to be with you. I want to be with you. I have MST. I've experienced this thing. I just can't open up. There's a wall where you just can't get through it. And a lot of times these MST veterans with MST, their relationships always end a lot in the I just don't know who you are. I can't get through to you. I don't know what it is. And no matter what is going on to a good degree, it's just difficult to be able to, you know, really explain how that damages relationships in so many different ways, and the stories always end up the same to a lot of these veterans. And thankfully, in your case, you know she has you that can at least be understanding and empathetic to the situation, but it still takes a toll even on you, and how it affects life in so many different ways. So, you know, these things are real, man. Like, you know, I make fun of things and I try to keep the commentary light and the content a certain way, but this is some serious stuff, man. People, you know, we have vets that become statistics a lot every day. You know, this is real stuff. That's not missed on me. My job is to normalize the conversation and make the conversation possible. Because even right now, somebody might be watching this, and this might be enough to be like, you know what, I'm gonna try. Like somebody literally commented on a video the other day, and they said, you know, I've been trying a thing, I couldn't do a thing. Basically, you've given me the motivation to push, and if that's the result, man, like mission accomplished, man. For me, that's the whole thing. Like maybe for someone that they just need someone to give them a little push. And that to me is invaluable, right? So I get it. Ed, man, I gotta get with you, man. Let me know what you're doing Wednesday. I'll try to have you come down to class. Your breakdown of the claim process is pretty good, Shelly. And that's the whole thing, man. Look, if you can't break this stuff down Barney style, I always say that when it comes to this, I can sit here and say really, you know, complex things to confuse you, and I can start talking about the CFR, and I can start talking about the higher two analogous ratings and freaking DC codes and all this other fancy stuff, and everybody's like, dude, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I think sometimes people like to just say things to sound smart, and what we need is people to just break things down for people to understand. All right, it's a complex system as is. It's a foreign language. So thank you for that because that's really what it comes down to. Let's see. I got it bad. I go Thursday for lower back pain. Would that be a good to say during Achman? I don't know which one specifically, but I would say yes. 70 depression, 90 overall med board really helped me understand how this process works. Yep. Sam I am. When's your next training? Wednesday night? Does the VA rate for FSAD? Yes, it does, Sierra. They treat it like ED, SMCK. Rated at a 0, but it pays out a special fee. Um, have you seen someone go for an exam, possible reduction, then get an increase? Yep, all the time, all the time. And again, shameless plug. I know a thing or two about claims. They talk about they want to reduce you. Come talk to the kid. You go up in there, fuck around, you come up with a higher rating. Shit. But yeah, yeah. The question was, have I seen someone go for an exam that for a possible reduction and come out with an increase? Yeah, because it's symptoms. Freaking hit them with the damn Akio. Pop, pop, pop. Increase. Uh, let's see. Hi, the Raiders say with your case. No, Carlos. It sounds cool to say that, but there's many hands that go into that acute system. People go to work. You know, things don't get done in one session, so there's a lot of moving pieces. Okay. Crap. Let me go catch up again. Okay. Thanks for the follows, good people. Green Beret, helicopter pilot here. Don't know what a VSO is. Veteran Service Officer, people that are assigned to help in many different ways veterans in their claims. Could you possibly help? I have 10 conditions, service connected with 0 awarded. Potentially. I was VA Claims, even tonight is what gives. Probably was right it wrong, or they just got it wrong. Maybe not you, maybe it's them. Let's see. I got denied for sleep apnea. Even did the thing come?
That's what they claim.
Oh, Amazon. You gotta love it. You order something, it shows up like at 5 in the morning, and then we actually need something to show up. It wants to freaking take 20 stops to get to you. Let's see. Got denied sleep apnea with Nexus letter study. Chester. Now pushback. Sometimes you just keep getting it wrong. So that's something that's on the VA. Like, that's not a you thing sometimes. Like my guy who got denied his migraines about 5 times. It was just a system. God bless you, running discipline. Got married, divorced a few times. Check. You know what time it is? If I get surgery to get my polyps removed, my nose, will that drop my rating? Potentially, because they'll get polyps for that. Would you try to go from 70 rating MDD instead? It depends. What's the rationale? What are you trying to do there? Why? Did it come? Josie? Did it come? Oh, Lord Jesus. I want to file vertigo, secondary tinnitus. I've been told it's hard to claim that's true. Not so much, just the medical argument has to be in place there, so I've seen that. Can you file a BDD claim without medical diagnosis? You probably should want to get a medical diagnosis for sure. What's up, Smitty? Stuck at 90. I see TDIU as the most promising way to get to 100% compensation. Not really. You have about, what is it, 300,000 or so veterans that are TDIU, a million change that are 100%. So it's just a path that people see a lot, but again, you have to be able to show and argue that. Plus, there's an income cap. So, yeah. Okay. That's what I told him. I got on 08. There's a lot of veterans who have not filed. 100 again. There's 18 million. The new BVA stats just came out. We have 18.5 or 6, 7 million veterans or so, of which 5 million change are rated, of which 1 million are 100%. Moral of the story is, not everybody's disabled, but there's a lot of veterans who just don't know. I had 9 surgeries. I'm 34. 11 Bravo, stuck at 90. That's, geez Louise. And even then, so like, what's the 90% comprised of, right? What's in there? Are things properly noted? Are there secondaries to look at, presumptives, etc.? Check. Am I eligible? I got out 91, no current claims. If you have a diagnosis and you can point things back to service, potentially. Dolly Parton's God, followed, share the life. Thanks for sharing. I didn't learn about filing a claim until I got out in 08. Now think about my guy who freaking, my Carl, 96 years old, 95 years old. MST is military S trauma. It's a S assault. Disability levels, different ratings, and PNT is just the top for 100. Alrighty, got that message from TikTok. We're going live for about 97 minutes, so start wrapping it up here. Facts, we have talked about the wall. Yeah, I'm telling you, I could literally, and again, talking to veterans, sometimes I think vets, like, they'll think that, like, my team or myself, like, we're almost clairvoyant. It's just like, nah, I could pretty much describe your entire life, because it's like you see it. It's like the Matrix. You keep seeing it in so many ways, and it's just like, how did you know that? I'm like, because you really have the situation. Okay. Yeah. Can you come after trying to? No, there's no come at you per se. If you're due for revaluation, they'll reevaluate you, and that's pretty much that. Hey brother, you have a little time? Can I ask a question about my what you got, Bobby? 10% denied it. Yeah, no, it's not service connected. You can appeal that 10. I need to sign up for your next class. Links in my bio for Wednesday. Money, what you do is amazing. You know what? Because you got to think about, like, who can relate to this stuff. Who talks about it? It's not cool to talk about this stuff. So I point it back to the system. You know what I mean? Like, there's more help needed. I'm all about more help. What I do is amazing. If it helps one person, that's what's amazing to me. You know what I mean? Because I sure as heck, I didn't choose this life, but this life chose me. I was denied hearing loss, but I appreciate you, my brother. When they rated me as 0 for hearing loss. Yeah, hearing loss is a one that gets rated low a lot. All right, let's put a 5-minute warning. If you have some questions, we'll go ahead and get those questions out the way. as I get back to life on this side. But links are in bio. That's the first thing. Make sure you sign up for this class. If you want to ace your C&P, come on Wednesday. If you think this is dope, I'm much better in class because here I'm filtered because social media. But ace your C&P class, that's happening this Wednesday. Links in my bio. You have a C&P coming up. Come on down. Don't wait until the C&P is coming up to come to class because there's things that you may need to process and digest to get ready. So prepare early. Don't cram. Waiting list for the active duty folks. Jump on that. If you're active duty, know somebody who's active duty, transitioning, that class, that workshop is for them. They get a discount as well if you're on the wait list. And then my personal link is up there too because people have asked to have a conversation with myself. So like if you reach out, my team is a free call with my team. But some folks want to have a private one-on-one C&P prep session with me or strategy session with me. So that is a separate link that I'm opening up like Mondays and Fridays. And then you have my attention to go over your stuff from soup to nuts. Let's see. Something to claim required new C&P? Yeah, John, most likely. Got my REA rating 100% yesterday. Your videos helps a lot. Tisha, awesome. How long did it take you to win this last claim go around? Congratulations. And I always say that very subjective. Not congratulations that you are 100 or got rated, but congratulations that the fight is over because I understand that process. Can you post a link to my medical team, John Brown? Links in my bio because you can't click links on social media. Let's see. What's going on, Fitz? 89 Delta, retired. 100% DB. Sandra, I looked at my claims, noticed I had a return to active duty claim. I didn't submit anything. Medboard out, got lucky, 100%. Okay. 100% P&T since April 2023. Mark, already submitted claims, had the two seem combined. Is it too late to submit the next letter? If you already had a C&P, I wouldn't add anything to that because if you get denied, then you can use it for the appeal. But if you add it and you get denied, then you can't reuse it. The Q grant, SMC. What does the Q for the grant of SMC? I'm sorry. Ask it again. I think you lost me there. Questionable. A Q specifically is something different, not a SMC. SMCS specifically is when you have homebound or 100% on one rating, and then a combination of 60 or more on the rest. Sonia said, "Oh Lord." Can you file BDD without medical diagnosis? I don't advise it. How much is the class? $47. How do you sign up? Link in bio. SMC awaiting. Shit, I might do the class. Sonya, man, look, reach out to me. We'll hook you up. Nayeli, bring on Sonya down. I'd love to have you. Come on down. So yeah, just get with us. Secondary conditions, hearing loss. Sandra, I thought I respond. I did see the message came through as I was kind of seeing like the little updates, and then I got swamped with a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a few different things to go to secondary to the hearing loss. Again, there's a mental health argument you can have there. With tinnitus, migraines, things like that do hit too. Sometimes the hearing loss and tinnitus, so migraines also is a pathway there. Really depends, right? Like what are the things that are happening when it comes to that vertigo? Sometimes also is an issue that comes with things like that. Mental health is a big one for sure. So there's a few different ones. It's just again how medically speaking, are we arguing it, right? Like that's not gonna be something you get tied to something like a foot condition per se, right? But different ways. Let's see. Do you have contacts someone you recommend to file for a claim? My company, if you want to be technical, I'm just saying we're the shit. But if you have VSO that works for you, try that. You know what I mean? We're not the first station. I'm more of a last chance corral. But if you have a VSO by you or services that you can explore, definitely check those things out. I'm big on options, so you never hear me push anything outside of my newsletter because I think it's the shit. Let's see. My claim it says Q for grant. Okay, so they probably messed up something and they try to go ahead and potentially award that to you. So you should have got it in some shape, fashion, or form. Let's see. I sent Amy an email. Stay in the fight. You better, girl. The hell. But check. But yeah, on hearing loss, a few different ways and things that can go into that. Let's see. Under two. Howdy, y'all. First time. Appreciate you, gravy. Plantar fasciitis, not surgery candidate, only got 10%. Also, what's the normal turnaround time for BDD claim? It depends, honestly, Solando, Cleveland, on a variety of factors and time frame. So really, it's a crapshoot because the VA is backlog. Currently going to the MEB, had my first C&P. How long do you think I'd still be in service? No one has been able to give me a clear answer. How long would you think I'd still... Again, that also depends once they clear all the stations. So it's like you're stuck in that loop until that gets cleared out and you go through that there. It could go for months, sometimes or more. On the tube side of the house, thanks for the thumbs up. I have no clue how that works, but I know that thumbs up are nice, so I appreciate y'all giving some thumbs up there. Globon, hello, how are you? What does VA consider prostrating for migraine claims? Sorry for all the questions. Please do not apologize for questions. That's literally why I'm doing this. The title literally says Q&A. So that's what it's about, man. Do not apologize for the questions. That's what it's about. So prostrating for VA claim purposes is you having to lay down, having to shut things down. Prostrating comes from like biblical times. I prostrated before the Lord. I've laid down. Well, because of migraine, you got to shut it down, lay down, turn off the lights. Prostrating, you have to stop everything you're doing. That's what that means. Okay. I think truth lace up the game. Tell them how it is. Respect. Check. In reference to arthritis claims, what does VA consider incapacitating exacerbations? Again, having the inability to do certain things frees up lockups and pains, etc. Not being able to do certain things, for sure. Okay, we got that one. You're welcome, Sandra. Um, you're welcome, Bobby. 3 TBIs in service was sold by a VSO to wait 5 years. No, no. It shouldn't take that long. 3 TBIs in service was told to wait 5 years for what? That doesn't make sense. No. If you can make the argument to file, you file. Been fighting my back claim since 17. Appeal just went through, so they're probably fixing it. Fingers crossed. Hope so. Let's get them 10K before the live ends. I love this happens almost in every live. Money, you got it this time. We had Wonky the other day. He was like, let's get the likes to a certain point. That to me, is always funny because I'm just like, I'm never the one to do all that stuff that people do on these socials. I just sit here answering questions, but that's dope. Little tap 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 screen. That's cool. What do you think sleep apnea secondary to rhinitis for the zero? It's possible, but again, the same respiratory system there, so how they treat that overlap of symptoms. But there's an argument there to be had for sure, potentially. Yeah. Just tore my ACL. Have 3 months left in Navy. About to start my claim. Brandon, check. Make sure you get the checklist in my bio for the BDD checklist, as you can start to put things together that you need as you're about to do that thing. Okay, just want my case from 2023. 100 was at 70. Check. Awesome. Check. Yep. Yep. Okay. Good people. So we went live here for 5 minutes. That's always what I say. But that really was more like an hour and 46. But this one was scheduled. So if you're following, turn on the bell notification so it tells you when I schedule these things or kind of pop in live. When insomnia hits, I'll just kind of pop in live and answer questions. So you know, get help, get the right help. Make sure the help can actually answer your questions and show up when you need them to be there for you. I know that's hard to say, but make sure they're knowledgeable, right? You know what I mean? Make sure they're able to help you and answer your questions because this is a very tricky, slippery slope. So that's the biggest thing I would say there for sure. Thanks, Anya. But yeah, get the checklist for sure. If you want to jump into the class waiting list actually for active duty folks. That's gonna be March 19. This Wednesday, though, we're hitting ACE Your C&P is the class kicking off this Wednesday. If you're on the wait list for the active duty transitioning class, you get a discount. So that'll be like $47. And if not, then it'll be like 67. And for the ACE Your C&P class on Wednesday, it'll be 47. Oh snap, 9.5 thousand, about to hit 10K, and then we shut it down. Should I file for SMC? You don't file for it specifically, rather, it gets awarded to you based off what you have. So that's how that works. Mari, mom's calling you. Your mother's calling you. 30% max pain fasciitis, but that includes getting some type of medical insoles. Yeah, yeah, Jason. Yep. What's going on, Adrian? Wrapping up. We've been live here for about 5 minutes or so. So just hanging out with my peeps. We hit 10. There you go. We hit 10. So money. There it is. Boom. We hit 10. We can shut it down. But all right, good people. We're gonna go ahead and shut it down there. If I missed your question, I apologize. Some things don't pop up. You want to talk to my team? Links in my bio. You want to talk to me? Links there as well. So definitely that's something to look at. Talking to me, you don't have to. That's not free though. You want that one-on-one conversation. So I'm just saying, just to be very transparent about that. But the team, they'll be able to have a conversation with you. And I have a team in place for that. So I know some folks have wanted me to do stuff. So just saying what that is and what is there. But jump into the classes, right? Sign up for these things. Folks have asked for it, so we'll make sure we get it out there, sharing the BDD checklist and things like that. More to follow. We should have our new website kicking over this weekend, so shout out to the team behind the scenes helping all that happen. I have a C&P exam, anything you can help with. Wednesday night, I'm doing a C&P exam. That's the best thing I can tell you, because I'll literally make sure that you are ready to rock and roll. But again, it depends. And the reason I'm saying that, like I said, I don't know what you're filing for. I don't know if it's an increase. I don't know if it's a denial. I don't know if it's something new. What's the condition? Where you're at? So there's so many variables that just I can't just say do this. Anybody who says that, they're completely asinine. Because what are you giving advice for, right? It depends on the situation and what's going on. So on Wednesday, I'm covering what a C&P is, bads, do's and don'ts, bad C&Ps, how to fight back, how to punch back, mental health claims, all kinds of other claims, and Q&A and all these different things. So do I miss flying? Sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah, links in my bio. You could check out how to reach out to the team and all that. So yeah, all the resources are in the link in my bio. Dennis, appreciate you, my brother. Have a good night. Good listening to you. Appreciate you, man. Okay, I think we're good there. Yep, so you can reach out, link in my bio. Any idea how long increase I've taken lately? Months. You know, it's just a regular claim, so nothing special about those things. All right, dope. We're good. Appreciate you, amazing people. We'll be back. Make sure you follow, share, comment, all these good things, and check out the other videos that are being posted. So we go and make some good stuff there. So see you later.